Delegations from many countries have visited Israel to show their solidarity during this war, including from South Africa. A Christian South African delegation is here at the moment, being hosted by Diplo-Act in partnership with the South African Friends of Israel. So for more, it's a pleasure to welcome to studio Marie Sukers from the African Christian Democratic Party, member of the South African Parliament, and radio personality Bafana Modise, spokesperson for the South African Friends of Israel. Thank you both so much for being here in studio, and welcome, Marie. I understand it's your first time in Israel. You've been all over in a short space of time, including to southern Israel, the scene of the massacre on the 7th of October. Talk to us about your thoughts, your feelings when you were there.
Well, it was extremely difficult for us to really get the full scale of what the Jewish people experienced on the 7th of October. It was very important for us as a delegation to come out to Israel and show our solidarity in light of the pain and trauma that you faced as a nation. And in times of crisis, you really need your friends, don't you? So being there has been for us eye-opening, but at the same time, it has also helped us to better understand the pain of the Israeli people, the scale of the emotional and physical trauma for those communities.
Bafana, it's difficult to explain in words when people go and they see for themselves firsthand. What were your thoughts?
It is sad that to see such atrocities that took place on the 7th of October firsthand, there's been a lot of misinformation in South Africa around this issue. We know our history has been used to justify that. It was a moment whereby you start to think to yourself, what happened to the spirit of Nelson Mandela? What happened to a nation that was once known to be principled on reconciliation, on bringing people together? It is said that today South Africa has chosen a side of people who can do such atrocities. But however, it's our duty as South Africans, as Christians in South Africa, to not be intimidated, to not be silenced. I was with Marie today in Parliament to see the diversity of members of Parliament in Jerusalem. This is what you keep on telling them, that there is no apartheid in Israel. And sadly, our government has chosen the side of Hamas, which is a terrorist organization. These are the people who butchered 400 young people. These are the people who took over 200 hostages. Our history, Benita, does not have hostages. Our history does not have suicide bombers. Our history does not have radical Islamic ideology. We fought an honest struggle. And it's said that our history of our parents has been used to justify terrorism. And it's sad, honestly.
Marie, your thoughts on exactly that when you hear the accusation of apartheid existing in Israel? You're seeing it firsthand right now. What is your assessment?
My assessment is that we are faced with, in the world today, with a propaganda war that makes it very difficult for people to distinguish between what is fact and what is, what is just a narrative. It is very important for us to advocate for peace, but with truth and with accuracy. For the Christian faith and for people, for Christians in South Africa and the world over, Israel is part of our heritage, right? So when governments make decisions that excludes the views, sentiments of a large part of their constituents, of their country, it is the arrogance of political leadership that feels that we can do what we want when we're in power without consideration for the very people that has put you there. It is very important for us to understand as South Africans, especially, that when we put people in power, we need to hold them accountable. What our government has done has literally isolated and marginalized the Jewish community in South Africa that has contributed to our country.
What do you think the reasons are, Bafana? South Africa taking Israel to The Hague, accusing Israel of genocide. What do you think the reasons are behind that? Given what you're describing, you are seeing firsthand what actually is happening.
You know, the misconception, it has always been that just as South Africa pre-1994, so is Israel. We understand that we had a history. Nelson Mandela had a close relationship with Yasser Arafat. Equally, he had the close relationship with Shimon Peres. But however, as the war or as the time goes by, Hamas is not an organization that Nelson Mandela would align himself with. These are the people who are not in any way partners to peace. And if you look at it, basically, we had ministers who've been traveling to Iran. We have had leaders in our country who literally speak with so much hate and not necessarily speaking with the tone of reconciliation and bringing people together. Someone is paying the bill, and we are wondering who's paying the bill. Because if this was about human rights, look at Sudan, look at Zimbabwe, look at all the issues that are happening within South Africa, within Southern Africa, in the continent, that if we had any, if we want to be the moral fiber of the world, we should start in our backyard, not necessarily trying to hotspot wars that are far from us. Yeah. South Africa has nothing, has no place in this conflict. Our duty was to call for peace, reconciliation, and the immediate release of hostages.
Marie, you know the political world so well in South Africa. Why wasn't there the outrage in other parts, like you are describing, Bafana, in the history, in the world, taking the Hague, going to the Hague around all these other atrocities, the genocides that actually were genocides? Why didn't that happen before?
It is the theatre of politics. It's the theatre of politics without the moral duty of leadership. That's it. And what we need to do as South Africans going to the polls on the 29th, we need to bring back those values, the values that has driven South Africa to a place of peace, a government of national unity. It is very important as well to notice that the world over, there is a cry out for leadership with backbone, moral fiber, and the right values. And the political theatre, it is up to the citizens when we go to the polls to make sure that we elect leaders with those drivers. Doesn't go for theatre, for money, but they go for what is right and just.
Bafana, I've got 30 seconds left. When you go back to South Africa, your overriding message from having been here and seeing firsthand what really is going on, the diversity within the country, briefly.
South Africans, it's time that they stand up. It is time that we defend our history. Our history is unique to us. It is time that we call for the release of hostages. It is time also to make it very clear that our support and love for Israel is not hatred of Palestinians. It's hatred of terrorism. We wish that one day there will be peace in the Middle East between Israelis and Palestinians.
Bafana, Modise and Marie Sukers, thank you both so much for being here in studio on I-24 News. Thank you.